All right. So, hello and welcome to the podcast, all of you awesome people. It has been I think 2 weeks since I sat down and recorded a podcast live and did office hours. And that's because we had a interview last week. I'm starting to do interviews now, not because I've run out of things to talk about. If you've been joining us for our noontime lives, you'll notice I really haven't run out of things to talk about. But I'm doing interviews because it seems like there's an awful lot of information to cover out there, and there were a lot of people who really wanted to talk to you guys, who I wanted to talk to you guys. I recorded a couple interviews yesterday that I cannot wait to bring you because they are going to be completely amazing. I'm super excited about that. So, as per usual, I am recording this over on the Proofing Box. And if you are not a member of the Proofing Box, why not? Go to Facebook, facebook.com/, the Proofing Box, I think, or just do a search. I don't know. I have honestly, I've really cut back on my social media consumption. I pretty much only go to the Proofing Box on Facebook and Be With My People. And I'm on my Dirigo food safety page where I am doing life coaching every day. So I'm there at 12:30 on Mondays and then noon Tuesday through Sunday. So that is actually 7 days a week on the Dirigo food safety page. I do, I guess, simulcast them to the Proofing Box so that they are archived there. They're also over on the YouTube channel. I would be so appreciative if you like what we're doing. If you went over to the YouTube channel, you can actually find all of these videos on the YouTube channel as well, and gave us a subscribe over on the YouTube channel. And then once I get 100 subscribers, I can actually name my channel, which the marketing people tell me is really terribly important. So we're super excited about that. And so yeah, so I'm recording this. Maine got their lockdown order today, and we've been under lockdown. It hasn't really changed a whole lot for us. I mean, I live in the woods in Maine, and we only were going out for groceries and pharmaceutical prescriptions and things like that. We are all healthy. I very much hope this podcast and office hours finds you all healthy as well. So the next announcement is, of course, we've got lots of good things going on besides the daily lives around life coaching. And I'm not going to lie, I'm teaching everybody the tools of life coaching because that is what is going to get us through this. However, business is not stopping. Business is actually going super well. If you have ever considered getting a locker for your food production, now is absolutely the time to be looking at that. I am booking so many calls for the locker. People are very, very interested. And the short version is that I can have a food production facility up and running on your property in 12 weeks. Okay, so we can spend all of this time where we are confined doing production planning. All right, and then you can be actually in production or scaling production in 12 weeks, which is the end of this quarter and right in time for the summer selling season. My prediction, I think this is going to be going on for the next quarter. Okay, so if you haven't done your quarterly planning, I'm going to be talking about that during office hours and what 90-day planning looks like. Okay, and how I do 90-day planning. And I'm going to we're going to talk about that, but I think it would be wise, my friends, to do your 90-day plan as if it's going to look a lot like it does right now. All right, and what I'm talking with everybody about is preparing for so we're going to go through Q2 and for preparing for Q3, because I think in Q3 there is going to be an epic amount of pent up demand, okay? And everybody's going to leave the house and everybody is going to be out and about and spending their money because that's kind of who we are as people. That's kind of what we do. Okay, so I am definitely planning for things going on in the fall. We are going to have a live event with one of our members down in the fall that we're going to open up to everybody. It's going to be amazing. And we are planning on using Q2 to create that event, and then we will be pushing it in Q3 because everybody plans everything like 12 weeks in advance anyway, so we don't have to do a 6-month time frame. So we've got that. Then I want to give a shout out to all the veterans, okay, because I want to let you know, get in touch with me, book a blueprint call. Okay, and there's a link on the page. Book a blueprint call because you can come into the power group, I kid you not, for a price of pay what you think it is worth. Okay, this is amazing. This is a $10,000 product. I sell this for $10,000 fairly regularly. It's a year-long subscription and it will blow your mind. And if you need another veteran to talk to about just how much their life has changed by coming into the power group, you let me know and I will send people to go to you. So that is, I think, our housekeeping announcements at the top of the hour. I will, of course, be doing office hours covering questions about coronavirus that are coming in, a couple of USDA questions, some seafood HACCP updates, because I know that was what everybody was waiting for, is seafood HACCP updates, foreign supplier verification updates, and other stuff like that. So if you are listening to the podcast, those office hours do not get included as part of the podcast, and you will need to come onto the Proofing Box, join us. It's we are strong, we are mighty, and there's a lot of good information there. So you can hear the office hours. So, all right, and then finally in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from yesterday, I am going to be doing an actual hour-long webinar going over supply chains. So today we're talking about supply chains, and I'm going to be giving you a broad overview, okay, and why rising tides lift all boats, and how we can deal with this in the current paradigm of what we are living in. And then on Wednesday, 2 weeks from yesterday, I will be doing a webinar. Okay, so be sure to sign up for that. I will have a sign up link in the Proofing Box. And if you are on my mailing list, we are, I think, the first set of letters, like the first set of, hey, sign up for our Serve Up Truth Supply Chains Made Easy webinar sequence went out. It was supposed to. I don't know. I just write the emails, so somebody else puts them in the Kartra system, and that is going to be super good. If you are looking for what's it called? CE credit for that. I have blurbs that you can turn into people for CE credit. So let me know if you are interested in that. Okay, so I think that is what we have for announcements. It's always all about the announcements. So let's talk about what we are going to do today and what I want to teach you. Okay, so now I want to be super upfront with you. I feel like I say this all the time, all of the things I do out there, all of the value I give out there, all of the lives, all of the webinars, all of the emails, it's all about helping people make decisions, because I have to tell you that decision making is how everything gets done. Okay, I have a wonderful, profitable business because I make decisions. Okay, I allow myself to fail forward. I allow myself to figure it out. Okay, and as your coach and consultant, even if it's just for this half an hour or so that you are listening to me, my job really is to help you make a decision, okay? And this decision is not about, I promise, whether or not you buy from me. Okay. I would love it if you bought from me. It would make a huge difference in my life, okay? Because I love bringing people in and giving them all of the wonderful information that I have in the proofing box and all of the amazing coursework that we have in the proofing box, okay? But I will tell you, there are tons of people out there who listen, who have grown and scaled their business pretty magnificently, just flat based on the free information. Right? I mean, how fun is that? I love that so much. You have no idea. I love that so much. Okay. And so if this podcast would be helpful to somebody, okay, and you know that right now you can't afford to spend anything on coaching, well, then I have so much free stuff out there. I want you to refer me to your friend. I mean, there are a lot of people in the restaurant world that now are staying home and who have to figure out what they're doing for the rest of their lives, potentially. And if food and food manufacturing and food production and being part of the supply chain that we're about to talk about is where they want to go, there's no better place to be than listening to this podcast and being on the proofing box and taking advantage of all of the stuff that I put out there in the universe. Okay, even during the coronavirus crisis, food is a quarter of the world's economy, okay? And that is not going to change. Like, it really isn't, okay? Because terrible as it may sound, statistically, the number of people who are going to sicken and die from coronavirus actually doesn't make any statistical difference, okay? And in addition, the number of people who are actually dying is going down. Now, the number of people being born hasn't gone down. We'll probably get a baby boom. We will have our coronavirus babies, and then we will be calling them quarantines and embarrassing the snot out of them. It's going to be amazing. And so the goal and the supply chain for food, we are in an inflection point right now, okay, where if we apply those 6 assets that I talk about in food, we have an unprecedented opportunity in local and sustainable agriculture to really make the difference that we want to make. Okay. And so those assets that I talk about, I talk about assets and people are like, assets. Well, dudes, your life runs on assets and your business runs on assets, and you can't be afraid of math. Okay, so that's like the first thing when I talk about supply chains. One of the things I want you to like get really comfortable with, and it's a thing in your own brain, okay, is getting comfortable with supply chain math. All right, because your raw materials have to land on your shipping dock at the right time, in the right quantity, at the right price. That is all math. It is all an algebra equation, okay? And if you're all like sweating how that math works, I have somebody who can help you, okay? She's like my bookkeeper. She's amazing. Just DM me if you want her name, okay? But you have to understand the math of your cost inputs. And that means you can't be afraid of that math. You can't be afraid of spreadsheets and numbers, okay? And if that is where you are, just come talk to me, okay? Come to office hours and let's work it out, okay? Because that is what I'm here for. I'm going to brag here. I just did a project for a long-term client whom I love very, very dearly. And I wrestled their data tables to the ground, and I was super, super proud of myself. I've had my nose all up in Excel for like 24 hours, and I won, and I beat it, and I'm super excited. And that product is coming off of hold, and we're going to sell it, and it's going to be profitable, and I'm terribly happy about it, okay? Because there are some people, my friends, have to get super excited about solving problems in Excel, and it might as well be me, right? And so if that is not you, that is what I am here for. Like, literally, that is what I invented the Power Group for. You come to office hours with those problems and I solve them with you. And it really teaches you not to be afraid of math and Excel and that sort of thing. Okay. So there is supply chain math. All right. What supply chain math does for us is that it allows us to tell ourselves the truth. Okay? Because right now, more than ever, it is of surpassing importance that we understand in our businesses how the money is flowing. Are we getting grants from the government to cover payroll? Probably most of you are, okay? If you are a small business, there's like all of that information out there. There's like, go to your SBA, they will help you with that. Or Google your county name, SBDC. All right, Small Business Development Corporations, they're like your local SBA office is your SBDC, right? But SBA, SBDC, all of those people, they speak in math, they speak in numbers, okay? And your numbers, they are neutral. And when we understand that your numbers are neutral, then you can understand where your emotion is coming from. And I will tell you, I know what it means to have emotion tied to numbers. I didn't understand math was neutral until I went to Mount Holyoke College for 6 weeks in the summer of, 1990? And I spent 6 weeks relearning how to do basic math, okay, as a 16-year-old. Okay, that was not, it's because I had a very bad relationship with numbers, and I know a lot of you have a bad relationship with numbers, but we got to speak numbers. For a rising tide to lift all boats, we got to speak in a common language of math, okay? And the first thing to do is to understand how numbers and manipulating numbers makes you feel, right? How does it make your employees feel? What does it mean for your stakeholders? Are they engaged in the numbers conversation? Okay. I know that sounds like a super strange way to approach a supply chain, but it actually really is the only way. Okay, because this idea, there are so many there, and this happens all the time with my producers. So you have a producer, okay, and they are making amazing charcuterie and they're selling to a restaurant, and the restaurant puts them on net 90 terms. Okay, and the charcuterie producer desperately wants that sale, right? They desperately want to say they are supplying XYZ restaurant. And I get it. I totally, totally get it. However, net 90 terms is really expensive. Okay, and I know it preserves the cash flow of the restaurants, but it really hurts the cash flow of the processors. Okay, this happens in fish, this happens in meat and poultry. It happens a little less in cheese, just because cheese, a lot of them we're in raw milk cheese. Well, all raw milk cheeses, if you're selling them, age over 60 days, and so this really screws up supply chains a lot. Okay, because if the money is not flowing, the money is not flowing, and that makes things really complicated. And when that sort of incoming and outgoing money, like I've been talking about on the lives, when that sort of incoming and outgoing money is not smoothed out and discussed, makes it really, really, really hard. Okay, and so the radical new way that I am proposing that we secure down our supply chains is that we understand that your supply chain is dependent upon math, okay? And that your supply chain is dependent upon the trust and credibility that you can create in your own head with yourself and what you need and what your boundaries are around invoicing. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've had a lot of people say, hey, Dr. P, I know how valuable you are. I really need to stretch out our invoices because of cash. All right, and guess what? For most of them, I'm really happy to do it. Okay, because everybody understands cash crunches, everybody understands lengthening invoices. We all get it. We all do. Okay. That all said, it's dramatically more difficult if you don't have a conversation about it. All right. As I am fond of saying, the only problem with cooperatives is that people actually have to cooperate. And in order for people to cooperate, they actually have to speak the same language. And again, my recommendation is that language is a language of math. So what does that actually mean? Okay. That means what the very first thing that you need to do in order to secure your supply chain is to have a specification. Okay, now I know all y'all like piss and moan about specifications, and I'm not gonna lie, I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I know it's a pain in the neck to write, I guess, but not having a specification makes it so much more difficult to have a conversation. Okay, because nobody, I mean, if you're making an 8-ounce product versus a 6-ounce product, you need, I mean, like, that's something you need to know, right? And you know that, and you decide upon it by writing a specification. And so all of your supply chain math starts with your specification. If you need organic spices to come in, that is a specification. Like, whether you've written it down or not, that is a specification. You will have a different conversation about your supply chain based on the specification of organic spices. It's literally that simple. They are a different price. They are sold in different quantities. They have a different hazard and risk analysis. All right. It all stems from, what do you make? Okay. And then how do you make it? Those are all, at the end of the day, math questions. Okay. And so when we look at ways to secure our supply chain, our lines of communication start with our specifications. They start with the math of our packaging, of the labels, of how all of that stuff looks. That's where we start. Okay. And then once you have all of that information about what you actually want, like your raw product specification as you move up your supply chain is, hey, this is what I want to land on my shipping, on my receiving dock, right? And you can go to your suppliers and you can have the basis for a conversation based on that specification. When you have that basis for a conversation, then you can have a basis for a conversation about price. Okay. And when we can talk money and we can agree that it is preferable to have a local and sustainable food production system where everybody makes money, where everybody is creating wealth, where you have the opportunity to create the wealth to live the way that you want to live, we all do better. That literally is rising tides lifting all boats, is when you are creating the wealth that you want to have to live, where where all your suppliers are creating the wealth that they want to have to live. And we do it in a manner where everybody makes money. Okay, so I manufacture as well. Like, I have a fabricator and we manufacture the locker. Okay, and we are coming out with medical lockers, and we call it the gray locker because we have morgue space actually for communities, having really intense conversations about community sustainability. It's not just food, it's medical space and respectful space for the dead. And I have conversations, and one of the things that I say to my suppliers, my fabricators, is you are making money on this, right? Because it's not enough for me just to make money. If my fabricators are not making money as well, then they're not going to work with me. So everybody's got to make money. And in order to have those conversations, What it takes is vulnerability. All right. So you start with your specification and then you move to vulnerability. And I ask you, what does it look like to have a courageous and vulnerable conversation with your supply chain? Right? Because that's what it takes, especially right now. What it takes is courage and vulnerability, right? Not to laugh at the people who stumble, not to be up in the cheap seats saying, I can't believe that they're trying to do this. If not now, when, my friends? If you are not going to have courageous and vulnerable conversations with your supply chain now, when the hell are you going to do it? Because we're never going to get another opportunity like this. This is because coronavirus is an opportunity. It absolutely is an opportunity. People are more willing than ever, okay, to go buy local because the food, frankly, isn't in the grocery store. I live in Maine, okay? The food's not making it here, and a lot of people are buying local. The local farm stand where I go and I get food has more produce than a couple of weeks ago had more produce than my grocery store did. Okay, so we're buying our produce from Jeff, right? Because it builds sustainable communities here, and I want to keep the money in my community near as I possibly can. But for him to get the products that he wants, for other farm stands to get the products, for you to get the raw materials in so that you can go make the grind and the bacon and the all the things, takes courage and vulnerability to have those conversations, to talk about pricing, to talk about shipments and shipment delays and all of that sort of stuff. And we are being given a gift. Okay. I know coronavirus seems really scary to people. I really believe it is a gift to our small businesses. And I'm not talking about the $10,000 from the government. I am talking about the gift of having all of the pretenses ripped away that we don't need each other. Okay. And being courageous and open and vulnerable with your stakeholders. All right, that is asset number 3 on our scale, right? And right now, courage and vulnerability with your stakeholders is absolutely what you need in order to build the business that I know you were always meant to build. So that's what we have for the podcast today. Thank you ever so much for joining me for the podcast. And we've got another interview next week, and then I will catch you the week after that with office hours. And I love you. Have a week full of awesome. Sign up for Serve Up Truth, Supply Chains Made Easy. And we will be going through the actual step-by-steps more than just, what we talked about today on that webinar. All right, guys, I love you very much. Have a great week. Bye-bye.